All of this is just one big calendar game, and we're going to be explaining why Barcelona won't pull the trigger on Nico Williams before June 30th. And their whole plan is to pull the trigger after June 30th, which will be in July. Barcelona could pay Nico Williams €62 million buyout clause today. They could. They have the funds, but they won't. And that is for one simple reason. The club's financial year closes on June 30th, meaning that any expenditure booked before the date would weigh in on the 2024-2025 accounts, which in result could tighten La Liga salary cap calculations that already has Joan Laporta and Deco counting every euro. So to register Nico Williams before July 1st is only going to make future operations even more difficult. If Joan Laporta and Deco wait after July 1st or shortly right after, the fee is carried into the next season's books and it won't have any effect on this current summer, which is like what I have said, making it easier for Barcelona to sign other players in this summer. So the delay is not about liquidity, right? We were supposed to hear that Nico Williams has signed with FC Barcelona and finished, but it is not a liquidity problem. It's about accounting optics and registration guarantees. So with the internal voices within FC Barcelona, they're saying one thing: calma. Relax. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is being well calculated. Barcelona's main objective right now is to close the accounts at the end of June in a very strong way so we can go into July and sign as many players as possible. In terms of the players' stance, there is this unbreakable Barça pact, right? This full agreement. Bayern have been waiting and they have been lingering around. They have been waiting to see whether Barcelona could fail on this operation, and Bayern actually even made another bid, but it has been ignored. Nico Williams continues to say that he only wants FC Barcelona. The same thing is going to go on with the Premier League. There has been some calls coming from the Premier League, but Nico Williams brushed it aside. He's like, no, thank you. I'm good. That is disgusting. I want to join a team like Barcelona and nothing more. And sources close to the Williams family confirmed that Nico has told his agents to dismiss all other offers. He views Barcelona as the project, and he has already told his brother Iñaki Williams that he is going to be leaving. There has been some conversations about the fact that Iñaki Williams is trying to make Nico Williams stay at Athletic Club, but those are false rumors. Iñaki Williams actually wants Nico Williams, his brother, to move to a team like FC Barcelona, and that is the final decision. And there is also going to be this celebration that will be held by the Williams family along with the agents at their family home, because they're going to be celebrating the fact that he has joined Barcelona, and that is already signaling that the personal terms have already been agreed. Barcelona have all the financials ready. They're just waiting after July 1st, hence the reason why they are celebrating. But let's go into the big news of today, because there is this lineup that has been leaked, and we're finally starting to see what Hansi Flick's Barcelona is going to look like in the next season. But to be more specific, it is about the attack. And you guys know how I always said that, I do see Lamine Yamal on the right wing position with Rafinha on the number 10 position and Nico Williams on the left wing position. We have all agreed on that, and that continues to be the main priority for Hansi Flick. However, Flick has a different plan. He is going to tweak something up top, and that is to take away Lewandowski and put in Dani Olmo as the main number 9, aka the false 9. And that is what Hansi Flick does want. He wants Nico Williams on the left as the vertical dribbler, somebody who can hug the touchline and liberating Alejandro Balde and his diagonal runs, with Lamine Yamal on the right wing position being that creative hub, and bringing on the half space rotations with Rafinha on the number 10 position with the role of becoming the pressing engine and having late penalty box arrivals. But up top is going to be Dani Olmo, the connector, the one who has positional chaos. Lewandowski is going to be taking a step back going into the next season. He is going to be somebody that will be benched and giving Dani Olmo some rest. For example, the way that I see this playing out is Dani Olmo starting with the rest of the attack, and then as soon as we hit the 65th minute, Lewandowski does come in. And yes, of course, there can be some games where Lewandowski does start, play 65 minutes, and Dani Olmo finishes the last 20 to 25 minutes. But I believe that this is going to be a very fluid, dynamic attack that Hansi Flick is going to love, and not just him, but us Barcelona fans. And let's stay on this just for a second, right? Because if we're going to be talking about Dani Olmo taking on the number 9 position, Olmo has already shown in the last season that he can thrive as a false 9, contributing in goals, assists, and ball retention in the 4-2-3-1 system. And I'm just making projections, right? But there is evidence that going into the next season with a front four of Nico, Rafinha, Yamal, and Dani Olmo, it is a strikerless Barça that presses higher, rotates faster, and creates interior overloads without really sacrificing the penalty box punch. And here is going to be what the data does tell us in regards to Dani Olmo playing in the number 9 position. In La Liga, he did it 6 times. He scored 2 goals, one against Mallorca, one against Celta, Celta and provided 1 assist. In the Copa del Rey, he played 2 matches as a number 9. No goals, but 2 assists against Real Betis. And then in the Champions League knockout stage, he played 1 game as a number 9, scored 1 goal, provided 1 assist, and one of them was against Borussia Dortmund. Dani Olmo has shown that when he is placed in those positions, he creates more than he finishes, averaging 0.35 expected assists per 90, but with goals, he averages 0.28 expected goals per 90. I believe that the main role that he is going to be having is to drop and to link with the other players. We also have to keep in mind that his pressing actions have shown that it is superior to Lewandowski, because as a number 9, he does 18.4 pressing actions per 90, which eclipses Lewandowski's 10.7 per 90. And so I can see Dani Olmo vacate zone 14, dragging center backs to different positions, leaving them very disorganized. And Rafinha, who is going to be the second striker or the number 10, can surge past as a late runner. It's going to be very interesting. And look, without a classic number 9 like Lewandowski, Barcelona can attack the box in waves. For example, the first wave, Williams near post run, Yamal far post. Second wave, Dani Olmo making the late run with Rafinha coming in for any sort of rebounds. This almost does exactly look like the Bayern Munich that we saw back in 2020. So many rebounds, coming in late, finding those loose balls, and scoring a lot of goals. Dani Olmo, as a matter of fact, is a master at that. Olmo's movement yields ghosted finishes. And if you guys look at his goals, all you see is Olmo going through spaces where the center backs are like, where the hell did this guy even come from? And I strongly do believe that there's going to be 4 upsides here with Olmo going into the number 9 position and Nico Williams on the left. There is going to be positional rotation chaos with 4 interchangeable outlets. It does make man marking impossible. Flick's Bayern used a similar pattern when they had Müller and Gnabry. Point number 2, front to back pressing speed. Williams' top speed is 35.4 kilometers per hour, and Yamal, Olmo, and Rafinha can all trigger the ball-oriented press. Point number 3, Alejandro Balde is going to be much more liberated. With Dani Olmo and his smart movements, he can take away some center backs from their defensive line, leaving Alejandro Balde with open space up top. Point number 4, and most importantly, with Lewandowski being 36 years old or 35 years old, he is going to be managed much better going into the next season. He's going to be taking on the role of a impact sub and starts on big matches only to really preserve his legs and his energy. And I'll be honest here, there are a few downsides, but I think that we can work around it. For example, there is going to be lack of aerial threat, and especially when we want to make crosses into the box, something that I did think was pretty much annoying against Inter Milan. I said that multiple times. I also do think that when you look at Dani Olmo and his physicality, he's not one of the best. He does easily get to the ground when somebody like Rudiger wants to get really physical with him. Lewandowski is much more physical compared to Dani Olmo, and he can hold the ball much longer. So I think that Dani Olmo is going to have to get much stronger if he is really going to be the number 9. And so I do think that if Dani Olmo is going to be given more confidence, more prominence, more minutes, I expect going into the next season, and this is going to be my projections, but for him to have 13 goals by the end of the 2025-2026 season and 16 assists. And hopefully he can give us a 4.6 shot creating actions per 90 minutes, making him one of the best in La Liga. We need him to be that. And hopefully Hansi Flick can find the correct system to make all these players work together. There has been multiple case studies. I think that he has it in his capacity. That 5-1 win against Real Betis back on January 15th, Olmo started as number 9. He supplied 2 assists. He finished with 87% pass accuracy. Flick did call him on that night model execution. There was also that game against Dortmund, which ended 4-0 in the quarterfinal match. He scores the opener. He later sets up Lamine Yamal. Everybody said that he was a master on constant lane switching. And then you have the match against Mallorca, which ended 1-0 on April 22nd. He ghosted between the center backs and volleys home a very decisive goal. And so in the end, this is going to be my conclusion. Deploying Dani Olmo as a nominal number 9 lets Flick field his 3 fastest, our most direct wingers like Rafinha, Yamal, Nico Williams simultaneously while preserving the positional interchange that defines the 4-2-3-1 is going to be excellent. There is evidence that Dani Olmo in the number 9 position is going to greatly work. We have seen that against Betis, Dortmund, and Mallorca. Olmo can create, he can finish, and he can press with the intensity that Flick does demand. I think that we will see a Barcelona that is lighter, quicker, and much harder to predict, meaning that we're going to be much scarier going into Europe. And hopefully along that way, we can bring trophies. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.